バーサーカ
バーサーカー。バーサーカーって呼べってことか？
Bless Nonaka Iso. Oh my god, they really make her just making drums for the entire series. If there's one craziest voice acting decision I can name, it would be the fact that Tai Yamada is voiced by the legendary Kotono Mitsuishi. That is wild. Friend Choo Choo full set figures literally when. But yeah, Friend is pretty great too. While most would know Fate's rendition of Frankenstein Monster from the 2018 anime Fate Apocrypha, I would say my infatuation with the character is largely attributed to the mobile game Fate Grand Order, even though Naka Eye is having more fun there. A lot of people are not on board though, so they nerf her scream after first release. The English server never get to experience that glory. My first real encounter with the character is from the partial translation of Fate Apocrypha novel found in the Beast Lair forum, particularly the scene where Friend had a sort of conversation with her master, Colossus. Of course, the scene is also in the anime, but I feel like there is something less magical about it, probably a simple case of rose-tinted glass. I wouldn't know, I have no intention to actually finish the light novel. But anyway, after the anime aired, I was excited for a prospect of Spartacus figure. Of course, that never happened. After an endless mountain of Jin, Modred, and Astolfo announcement, a Friend figure was announced by Taito. And how I wish this isn't the only figure of Berserker of Black. Back then in 2018, Taito prize figures aren't exactly met with honors as it is now. That position actually belongs to Sega, and it's not to see why. Just look at the difference between them and Modred. Not to mention that Sega's prices are generally bigger, around 20cm, definitely not a norm during that time. So yeah, it's hard not to say I wish Sega made her instead. Or if she was made by current Taito, she definitely wouldn't be this underwhelming. She's just the best choice right now because she is the only choice. The most obvious flaw to mention is how her gold pin melts and smudging all over her dress. You can keep her in the box, you can display her. This thing will still happen. I would know that, I own two of this figure. Her dress being white made the paint transfer problem even more apparent. I think there's some sort of curse, even her Nintendo trading figure is bad. Couldn't hold her mace, couldn't hold its stuff together as well. I would know that, I own two. In 2017, Fate Grand Order announced their second summer event titled Dead Hit Summer Race. And among the cast is Friend in her swimsuit, now in Saber class. And let me just say, she is absolutely...
サーバントセイバーフランケンシュタインの怪物夏なので口調も軽めよろよろ
adorable. Everything from her design to her father-daughter relationship with James Moriarty and Charles Babbage begs you to say. So it's a no-brainer that I would throw cash at the gacha, and I did NP5 her, twice in both JP and English server, even made an FCO gameplay channel featuring her. She definitely received quite a popularity boost during the event, and as so, a Summer Friend 1/7 scale was announced by Max Factory, and it was eventually released on September 2019. Okay, I actually didn't pre-order this one. From the promotional images, her face looks a bit wonky to me. And with her being kinda popular at the time, I was hoping for another scale of her would be announced with a much better face. Well, that did technically come true, but with a small catch. We'll get back to that. There's a bit of story on how I purchased this figure as well. I live in Southeast Asia and we have this little trading app called Shopee. Typically it is only used by C sellers, but one Japanese goods store, Lashinban, actually set up their store on this app. So I saw a listing of this figure and it's like super cheap. After confirming that they are legit, and since Shopee has a decent customer policy, I just placed an order. Moments later, it is cancelled. Apparently they messed up the conversion rate to my local currency. A bit of a bummer, but I received a compensation voucher of about 100 ringgit. That's like $24. And using the voucher, I managed to grab her for 356 ringgit, the equivalent of $84. It's still for an unopened figure if you ask me. But how about shipping? Well, for Shopee, the international shipping is always flat 5 ringgit. That's slightly above $1. And since I am a cheapskate, I use the free shipping voucher as well. So yeah, I only paid for the item. Thank you, Leshimbang and Shopee. This is not a sponsored post. Pray that I someday get to make an actual sponsored post. Okay, back to the figure itself. Like I said before, not a big fan of the face, especially on how they decide to go with her lips. The hair is well sculpted, but I feel it lacks the necessary shading one would expect from a scale figure. The highlight for me is the eyes. Even though one of the eyes is fully covered, they still paint her heterochromia eyes, one of the defining features of Fran. The body sculpt as a whole is terrific. We have the subtle lining at her abdomen and legs, giving the impression of muscle volumes. This figure is based on her first Ascension art in the game, and I'm really glad that one of that, because it is the only Ascension with the yellow parka. I feel the parka basically completes the design because it contemplates the gold on her horn and weapon. We also get nice detailing on the parka itself. The crease on her cloak is well made, but I feel it could definitely benefit from more shading. Her base is a diorama of a beach. Both the water and the sand parts have a tangible texture, and this helped me making the figure pop out. Okay, remember when I say back then that I wish for a Fran figure with a better face and that wish is granted? Well, here's the problem. It's a 1/12 scale. This thing is basically microscopic. Yeah, Fran definitely nailed her face better, but as for the other aspect, this wearing plastic base is a standard for Fran. This figure is based on a second Ascension, so she uses a parka and she wears a miniskirt instead. Pretty cute, but I still feel that the parka adds so much to her design. Because of the size, I display her next to the Mordred Choconossaire, which is also surprisingly small compared to other Sega's Choconossaire. I still have some hope for Fran figures in the future. I would love to have a scale of her in Berserker form. Recently, JSC announced pop-up parade of Fate Apocrypha cast starting with Mordred and Astolfo. If Fran get a figure from that line, I'm fine with that too. And it's not unusual for Richiki to receive PVC treatment years after the initial release, so I have great hope for this one by the Circle Arino Tosai. Great concept, great execution. Far-fetched part with Moriarty's butterfly on this figure is such a well thought out decision. Fran also get a Christmas version for FGO Arcade. I wouldn't mind even the price for this one. Maybe a Kuji where the price are all FGO Arcade exclusive Santas. Please Bandai, let us have at least physical version of the Santas. Okay, if you managed to reach this far, you are already a part of the Fran cult. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to sign your name here.